Good evening. Cabinet approved the following items. The first is the setting up of the Central Institute of Hotel Management, Catering Technology and Applied Nutrition in Jagdishpur under the Societies Registration Act. This will be similar to 21 Central Institutes of Hotel Management that are already in existence. The institute will be constructed in Jagdishpur, District Sultanpur, Uttar Pradesh. It will have a hostel for 400 students and a 30-room applied training center for giving hands-on commercial training. The institute will be completed in 24 months, the hostel in 30 months. Classes will commence in the academic year 2015-16. The next item is from the Department of Public Enterprises, and Cabinet approved their proposal for permitting the management of central public sector enterprises to initiate wage negotiations generally effective from 1/1/2012. This will benefit workmen of those central PSCs which opted for 5 years wage settlement with effect from 1/1/2007. And now the new negotiation will help them reach a settlement for a period of 5 years from 1/1/2012. As you're aware, there are 260 central PSCs in the country employing nearly 14 lakh persons. The next is a proposal from the Ministry of Power. Cabinet gave its approval for implementation of the All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE 2010 norms in regard to pay scales and service conditions in the National Power Training Institute for its teachers and faculty members. The next is the extension of the Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana to some other occupational groups. The new groups are: 1. Rickshaw drivers and rickshaw pullers; 2. Rag pickers; 3. Mine workers; 4. Sanitation workers; 5. Auto rickshaw drivers and taxi drivers. The total population covered under these categories is approximately 85 lakhs. The total financial implications for extending RSBY to the above categories will be approximately 210 crore in the year 2013-14 and rupees 420 crore from 2014-15 onwards. The exact number will, however, depend upon the number of persons who are identified and who are registered under these categories. RSBY is being implemented in 28 states and union territories. And so far, more than 3.44 smart cards, 3.44 crore smart cards have been issued. The coverage, of course, involves cashless health insurance cover of 30,000 rupees per annum to a BPL family of 5 members in the unorganized sector. The next item was from the Ministry of telecommunication. This was a proposal to install mobile towers in the left-wing extremism affected states. We've identified 9 states and 2,199 locations, 2,199 locations. Mobile towers will be installed in these locations by BSNL. BSNL has already installed towers at 363 locations. The funds will be provided from the Universal Service Obligation Fund, USOF, for both CAPEX and OPEX. The cost is estimated to be 3,046 crore. A target of 12 months has been set for installing and rolling out the mobile towers in these areas. The zero date will commence from 3 months from today, when the agreement is to be signed with BSNL and certain rules have to be amended. Once that is done and zero date is set, from zero date, we want to complete this work in 12 months. This is a long-standing demand of the Ministry of Home Affairs and the affected states. And finally, today, Cabinet decided that the project will be executed by BSNL in these locations. The cost will be, as I said, 3,046 crore. The last item taken up by the Cabinet is the establishment of permanent benches of the Karnataka High Court at Dharwad and Gulbarga districts. The principal bench is in Bengaluru. There are 2 circuit benches of the High Court of Karnataka at Dharwad and Gulbarga. They've been functioning since the 7th of July 2008. These 2 circuit benches will now become permanent benches. This will satisfy a long-felt demand of the people who now litigate in the Dharwad and Gulbarga circuit benches. So that completes the Cabinet. Are there any questions on the Cabinet decisions? Yeah, say it.
One by one, please.
What do you want?
देखिए, जैसा माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी ने बताया, आज कैबिनेट ने ये फैसला किया है कि जो नक्सलवाद से प्रभावित इलाके हैं उनमें BSNL के माध्यम से 2199 जगहों पर मोबाइल टावर लगाए जाएंगे। ये 2199 जगहें 9 राज्यों में हैं। इसके ऊपर जो खर्चा आएगा वो लगभग 3046 करोड़ रुपए आएगा और ये पैसा जो यूनिवर्सल सर्विस ऑब्लिगेशन फंड है उसके तहत दिया जाएगा और ये कोशिश रहेगी कि एक बार BSNL से इस बारे में एग्रीमेंट साइन हो जाए, उसके 12 महीने में इस सारे काम की पूर्ति कर दी जाए। Anything else?
First, please ask questions on the matters that are briefed as cabinet decisions. Okay.
सर आपने कहा कि कर्नाटक में 2 हाई कोर्ट बेंच को आप परमानेंट हाई कोर्ट बेंच बना रहे हैं because of public demands. So there was public demand for high court bench either in the western UP, in Agra or Meerut. So what about that branch? High court bench, sorry.
That didn't come up. The proposal that was brought to the cabinet was to make these 2 circuit benches high court benches. If there's another proposal, that will go through a process of consultation with the Chief Justice of the High Court, the Chief Justice of India. It has to come up. I don't know about the proposal. We are talking about, these are the decisions of the cabinet. These are the decisions of the cabinet.
सर PSU एम्प्लॉइज का जो वेज सेटलमेंट का मैटर है उसमें व्हाट इज द फाइनेंशियल implications?
No, we can't assess the financial implication now. Wage settlements are entered into for a period of 5 years. The previous settlement has expired. So we have to negotiate another 5-year settlement. It's only after a negotiation that we can assess the additional financial implications on the PSCs.
So the cabinet did not take up the.
Was there a lack of consensus because of which you did not come up with this ordinance on food security?
I have invited you to ask questions on decisions taken by the cabinet. I can't answer questions on decisions not taken by the cabinet.
Sir, there was an item listed in the cabinet for real estate regulation bill. Did it come up for any consideration?
These are the decisions of the cabinet that we are announcing today. If there are any other decisions, they will be announced in due course. But these are the decisions. So my request is kindly confine your questions to the decisions of the cabinet which I have announced today.
Are you going to give a separate briefing on Vodafone? Are you going to give a separate briefing on other issues? What is the position? Because we would like to...
There is a briefing on the CCA. Please wait.
वनीत फूड सिक्योरिटी बिल का ऑर्डिनेंस क्यों नहीं आया कैबिनेट में? क्योंकि सरकार में मतभेद था इसलिए।
मुझे इस बात पे आश्चर्य होता है कि अंग्रेज़ी चैनल वाले अंग्रेज़ी जवाब नहीं समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। वित्त मंत्री ने साफ कर दिया है कि जो कैबिनेट के अधिकृत फैसले हुए हैं और जिनके ऊपर जानकारी देने की अनुमति है उसकी जानकारी दे दी गई है। उसके ऊपर कोई सवाल हो तो हम आपके जवाब देने के लिए हाजिर हैं। देखिए, जो फैसले कैबिनेट के हुए हैं उनकी जानकारी आपको दे दी गई है। वो सारे फैसले आपके संज्ञान में ला दिए गए हैं। उसके ऊपर आपका कोई सवाल हो तो हम जवाब देने के लिए हाजिर हैं।
All questions over on cabinet? Okay. Now, Vodafone did come up in the cabinet, and the decision is that we will accept the offer of Vodafone to enter into a non-binding conciliation. The outcome of the non-binding conciliation will be brought back to the cabinet. If both sides, that is Vodafone and the government represented by the cabinet, agree on the outcome of the non-binding conciliation, then the matter will be taken to Parliament by way of an amendment to the Income Tax Act. So that is the proposal that was brought to the Cabinet by the Ministry of Finance, and this has been approved by Cabinet today. How can I give you a time frame now? The Vodafone offered conciliation. After very careful deliberation, we have now agreed in the Cabinet to accept the offer for a non-binding conciliation. Now, this will be communicated to Vodafone in a day or two, that we accept the offer for a non-binding conciliation. Vodafone has to agree. Then, if both sides are agreed, then the non-binding conciliation will start by appointing conciliators. They will have to give an outcome which is non-binding on both sides. And then Vodafone will take it to its board, I suppose, and Ministry of Finance will take it to the Cabinet. After that, we'll see.
During that conciliation period, there will be the tax demand and the interest and the penalty will be kept in abeyance.
The tax demand has already been made. So whatever the status of the tax demand today will continue.
Sir, who will be the conciliator in this case?
Well, I haven't given any thought to it.
Right.
But the Cabinet has approved that the conciliator can be appointed. We will go with some names to the Prime Minister.
Sir, will it require some arbitration act to be amended also?
No. As I said, it is non-binding conciliation, which is permissible under the present law.
So this non-binding conciliation that you're going to do, there were also suggestions from the Prime Minister's office to have what you call a retrospective, to make an amendment. Just as a pure academic exercise, now that the cabinet has taken a decision, does this mean if you had done a retrospective effect, does this tax demand would have been kept in abeyance, so it would have still remained, or they would have foregone? Just for my understanding, I would like to know.
Nobody suggested that we do another retrospective amendment. There is an amendment passed by Parliament. That is the law today. That law validated the earlier tax demand. We have to apply the law. When we issued notice under the law, Vodafone issued notice of arbitration. It is at that stage that Vodafone then said, we are ready for a conciliation. So we have taken a long time to reflect on it, and we went to the Cabinet today with a proposal for a non-binding conciliation. Cabinet has said, all right, you can attempt a non-binding conciliation, but come back to us on the outcome of the non-binding conciliation. So we will go back to the Cabinet if there is an outcome of the non-binding conciliation. So, and then after that, we will see and take it to Parliament if the Cabinet authorizes us to go back to Parliament. We will have to go back to Parliament because the current law validates the tax demand.
So, So, is the government willing to look at a waiving off of interest and penalty? I know you've said that...
You're jumping the gun. We have just agreed to accept the offer of a non-binding conciliation. What the non-binding conciliation will throw up, I cannot say.
So do you run the risk of someone challenging this conciliation in courts as well?
Well, no one has challenged it so far.
Okay, so what is Vodafone's offer then? Is it willing to pay the tax demand without a penalty?
How many times can I repeat myself? Vodafone has offered a conciliation. We have just accepted an hour ago to accept their offer for a non-binding conciliation.
So what are the amendments to IT Act that will be required for this?
There will be no amendment required now. As I said, only if the outcome is acceptable to the government, government may have to go back to Parliament for an amendment.
So that follow-up question to that, if both sides agree, then what parts of the IT Act could be amended, and secondly, will the retro part be?
That will depend upon what the outcome is, isn't it?
But the Partha-Sarthi Committee had already given a recommendation, and you have said you'll be looking at it, and it, given a time limit of for another 2-3 years. So will this help in speeding up that process?
Well, I'm sorry to point out that you don't seem to have read the correct paragraphs of the Partha-Sarthi Shom Committee. Partha-Sarthi Shom Committee recommended that ordinarily there should not be retrospective legislation in tax matters. If there is retrospective legislation on tax matters, certain things should be done, certain things should not be done. And in respect of past disputes, it is better to resolve the disputes through conciliation. So what we have done today is strictly in accordance with the last recommendation of the Shom Committee, that we resolve past disputes, old disputes, through conciliation.
Sir, if this is approved, this will be used as a benchmark for other similar cases?
Well, no similar case has been brought to me. This is the celebrated case before me, and therefore we are trying to find a resolution to this case. It is in India's interest to resolve this case. But we are not resolving it in an arbitrary manner. We are resolving it through a process of a conciliation, followed, if necessary, by going back to Parliament. So ultimately, the final word rests with Parliament.
So, sir, will it be to the Indian Arbitration Act, sir?
As I said, it is a non-binding conciliation under the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, which allows such non-binding conciliations.
Sir, what will happen in case government doesn't agree to the conciliation order?
But we have just agreed to conciliate.
No, whatever is the outcome, if government does not agree with that, what will happen?
Let's see what the outcome is. It's only after the outcome, cabinet will then decide whether the outcome should be accepted or not.
Move to CCAs.
But time is not fixed, in how long time goes?
If two conciliators sit together, and they are wise men and women, I believe they will be, they should be able to suggest an outcome, isn't it? It's a non-binding conciliation. It's not arbitration. It's conciliation. They will suggest an outcome or a modified outcome, and both sides can say, all right, this is the best we can do, we can accept it. Then we go back to cabinet, they go back to their board. So this is step by step. Everything is in the public domain. Everything will be transparent. And ultimately, we have to go back to Parliament. And unless Parliament approves it, nothing can be done. Okay? All right. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you about the real estate
No, wait a minute. Now, on CCEA now. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs approved the redevelopment of Safdarjung Hospital, New Delhi. This will be redeveloped at an estimated cost of 1,332 crore rupees. This will involve establishment of 2 separate building blocks with an 807-bed super specialty cum paid ward block and a 500-bed emergency block. Both blocks will have intensive care units. The super specialty cum paid ward block will cater to cardiovascular thoracic science, cardiology, cardiac surgery, endocrinology, neurosurgery, nephrology, and neurology. The emergency block will cater to orthopedics, neurosurgery, and general surgery. The estimated implementation time is 47 months from zero date, inclusive of 12 months for commissioning, operationalization, and stabilization phases. CCA approved the revival of the Nagaland Pulp and Paper Company Limited, which is located in Thuli, Nagaland. The revival will be through infusion of funds of rupees 309 crore, regularization of interstate diversion of fund of rupees 54.6 crore, and increasing the authorized capital of the company from 150 to 300 crore. The CCA also gave its approval to avail a term loan of rupees 156.5 crore from commercial banks against government guarantee. The revival plan consists of rebuilding the paper machine and pulping mills and a new power plant. The company will produce both pulp and paper in the first phase. It is hoped that with the revival, the net worth of the company will become positive and it will start posting a profit from the first year of implementation. The next item is payment of statutory dues, salary and wages to Hindustan Photo Films, pending final proposal of what should be done about Hindustan Photo Films. CCA felt that it is only just and fair that the statutory dues and salaries be paid for the past period. We have to pay these for the period 1/4/2010 to 30/9/2012. That is statutory dues, and salary from 1/4/2012 to 30/9/2012. This will involve a sum of rupees 11.93 crore. The next item is the restructuring of the multi-sector development program for minorities. CCA approved the continuation of the multi-sector development program. In the 12th plan, the allocation is rupees 5,775 crore. The objective of the program is to address the development deficit in the identified minority concentration districts by creating socio-economic infrastructure and providing basic amenities. This is an ongoing program. However, to sharpen the focus on minority concentration areas, some modifications have been proposed regarding unit of planning, coverage of the program, powers of approval, projects to be undertaken, engagement of block-level facilitators, and cost-sharing pattern, monitoring system, and social audit. So this is an ongoing program and it will be continued. That's all. These are the items on the CCA which I thought I'll share with you. Any questions, please?
So the real estate regulator bill.
Yes, the bill did come up, and a briefing on that bill, if necessary, will be done tomorrow.
Has it been passed?
Briefing will be done tomorrow. The food security bill was not brought before the Cabinet or CCA today. As you know, the bill is already pending in Parliament.
No, the ordinance, sir, the ordinance.
It was not brought before the Cabinet today.
As just wanted to know from the, because now that you'll have decided to go ahead with the ordinance route, does this stage
I'm glad you're telling me about our decision.
Does this mean that a stage is set for a confrontation with the opposition? Because Sushma Swaraj had tweeted saying that a special session would be more desirable.
Well, I'm glad you're speaking for the opposition, but I know of no such decision having been taken. So when a decision is taken, we'll let you know.
What do you have to say about the fact that the opposition, not just the BJP, but even the Trinamool Congress, all of them accusing your government and the Congress party of doing politics over the food security bill?
The politics over the food security bill happened when the bill was not allowed to be taken up in the last session of Parliament. And I wish that the indignant voices that are raised about the politics over the bill were raised at that time. The bill was before Parliament. That is the time when indignant voices should have been raised. Why is the bill not being passed? The bill is before Parliament. Yes, there has been some speculation that an ordinance may be promulgated, but as I said, and let me repeat it, no decision has been taken, and the matter did not come up before the Cabinet today.
Sir, ordinance आने के लिए क्या कैबिनेट में आना जरूरी है?
Where will I bring it otherwise? Avipan? That has been, there is a letter from the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu addressed to the Prime Minister, and I think, no, I'm not sure, I think the Prime Minister may consider first replying to that letter.
Sir, when a bill is pending in the Parliament, unless you withdraw that bill, has the government any authority?
This is all hypothetical. We have not withdrawn.
So bill is already in the Parliament. Unless you withdraw it, how can you pass an ordinance? I'm academically asking.
No, no, academically I don't give advice. Lawyers will give you advice.
What does the Tamil Nadu letter say on Naval Lignite?
I've answered the question on Neyveli. I've answered the question
No,
just
so
now.
what does the letter say? What does the letter say?
The letter to the Prime Minister will reply.
Sir, today, West Bengal Finance Minister has met you and asking for the early approval of the bill they have passed to control the cheat funds.
No, so Cabinet CC is
No,
over?
yeah.
Okay, all right. General questions now. General knowledge questions. Okay. Okay.
Dr. Amit Mitra has asked you
Yes.
to pass early, to approve the bill which West Bengal Assembly has passed. So whatever, have you given any assurance to it?
The bill has been sent to the Government of India. The nodal ministry is the Ministry of Home Affairs. The procedure followed is the Home Ministry circulates the bill to the ministries concerned, gets their comments, and then conveys it to the Government of West Bengal. The Ministry of Finance has given its comments to the Ministry of Home Affairs. I think they're awaiting comments from one or two other ministries, perhaps from the Ministry of Company Affairs. So after the Finance Minister of West Bengal met me and I told him that our comments have been conveyed, I shared with him our comments. And then I rang up the Home Secretary and requested him to collect the comments of all ministries quickly and in the next couple of days try to send it to the Government of West Bengal. So the comments of the Government of India will be compiled by the Ministry of Home Affairs and will be sent to the Government of West Bengal.
Will there be a special session of the Parliament, or are we going to have continue with the monsoon session, which is somewhere around mid-July?
Either or both.
Manish,
What kind of, these are all speculative questions.
हिंदी में आपसे जानना चाहूँगा, अभी एक सवाल हुआ था कि विपक्ष ने आरोप लगाया है कि आप फूड सिक्योरिटी बिल पर राजनीति कर रहे हैं और सुषमा स्वराज ने ट्वीट किया कि इतने इंपॉर्टेंट लेजिस्लेशन के लिए ऑर्डिनेंस का रूट गलत है, पार्लियामेंट सेशन में होना चाहिए।
देखिए, इसका बहुत विस्तृत जवाब दे दिया गया है। बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात है कि जो लोग आज सियासत की बात कर रहे हैं कि यूपीए की सरकार खाद्यान्न सुरक्षा विधेयक के ऊपर सियासत कर रही है, वो उस समय कहाँ थे जब ये बिल संसद के समक्ष था। ये सवाल उनसे पूछा जाना चाहिए कि उस समय उन्होंने बिल पर बहस क्यों नहीं होने दी, उसको क्यों नहीं पारित होने दिया। तो अगर सियासत का आरोप किसी पे लगता है तो वो विपक्ष के मत्थे मढ़ा जाना चाहिए, ना कि सरकार के।
You have just postponed it?
Well, whether this southwest monsoon will reach Bombay tomorrow, I do not know.
है, लेकिन आज की तारीख में आपके दल ने और आप लोगों ने इसका विरोध किया है। क्या वजह है कि आप इस बात का विरोध कर रहे हैं कि पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को आरटीआई के दायरे में आना चाहिए? Yes, the Congress party has clarified its stand.
What did they say?
They have said that they are against the idea of political parties being brought under the ambit of the RTI. Now, your government sponsored it.
Have some other parties said the same thing?
Yes, there are several other parties who have also said this. Okay. There seems to be a consensus without an all-party meeting on this.
Okay, let me tell you. When I have not read the full text of the order, but from what the summary of the order that I have read, it's a rather unusual interpretation of the provisions of the RTI Act. And the reasons given to describe political parties as public authorities within the meaning of the RTI Act strains credulity. It doesn't appear to be very credible reasons. So it's an unusual interpretation. And having been party to the cabinet that passed the RTI bill, I do not think the intention of the RTI bill was to apply to political parties. It was intended to be applied to public authorities as we understand governmental authorities.
Most political parties would argue, as you saw the BJP, and of course the CPM has its objections about transparency. Is the Congress against transparency?
The Congress is not against transparency. The Congress is, as you have just pointed out, the Congress spokesman is against the order of the CIC, holding that a political party falls under the RTI. Parliament must make law. CIC must apply the law. But novel interpretations cannot extend the scope of parliamentary law.
Sir, I have two questions.
That I don't know. That's a question must be put to the party. My answer is based on what you told me about what the party said.
Sir, I have two questions. One is from the Finance Minister, I would like to have an answer. Another one is from Manish Ji. The Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu have written to the Prime Minister that she will not be able to take part in tomorrow's meeting at Delhi, and she will depute one of her minister. Would you like to comment on this?
No, I don't wish to comment on it. It's quite possible that some chief ministers are unable to attend tomorrow's meeting because of other preoccupations. And such chief ministers do depute ministers. It's not an unusual
But she has made it very clear that she has not given proper respect during the last meeting. So that was the reason she will not like.
I don't know. That's your version. I don't know what the reason is.
Manishi, the second question to you regarding one of the requests from the Tamil Nadu government regarding digital, which is pending for a long time. You said how soon you are likely to give some response to the government of Tamil Nadu.
There is a consultation process which is underway. It is an extremely delicate issue. You need to factor in as to whether governments, and by governments I mean state governments and the central government, should be allowed into the broadcasting or the distribution business. There are different points of view. We are trying to reconcile and harmonize it. Once the interministerial committee arrives at a certain decision, and then we will look at it within our own ministry and come back to you with an appropriate answer. I know it's taking time, but at times there are certain issues which need to be deliberated thoroughly and they need to be thought through.
So is the government looking at a proposal?
I thought that the Ministry of Law has been for some months now working on a bill to appoint a judicial commission for selection and appointment of judges. The stated position of government is there should be a judicial commission that will select and recommend the names of judges to be appointed.
Shall we?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.